Hey guys, so I'm currently sitting in a part of Feather's Tail that you never really see on the videos. And this part is probably the most natural, well, it is the most naturally beautiful part because nobody's living here. The dogs don't run around in here, so it's still just a natural Tanzanian forest. And it's very beautiful in here, very, very beautiful. We have a few baobab trees and it's always been untouched. And it's a shame that I'm going to have to touch it because Feather's Tail is in need of expansion. I'm full. I say Feather's Tail is full. We simply cannot fit. If we put any more buildings in on the current land we're using, it's going to get very congested and uncomfortable. The buildings we have are at capacity. I've had to start renting things down in the village to accommodate the single parents, the single mothers, not parents. There's no fathers here. So the time has come where I need to start using this area of our land. Now, it's never had a fence around it, but recently, as you know, we upgraded our security fence after the trouble we've had, and we included this part of the land. And we did that because a charitable foundation called Last Night the DJ Saved My Life Foundation, they, using some support they had, built a 4-room building here for the single parents with special needs children. And it has toilet, shower, and then 3 single mums with special needs little ones can live there. And as with everyone else in the community, we have communal dining, communal kitchen, and so on and so forth. So you don't get a traditional house, you know, like in the West where you're self-contained. But that's not normally how it's done in Tanzania anyway. More than 95% of people live that way, where they live in a single room with a shared toilet and they cook outdoors because the weather's nice anyway. So we are basically a community that's based in that way. So the parents get a room to retire to rest, to play with their children, to sleep, and then if they need to cook and so on and so forth, they can obviously go and use the communal areas to do that. And it's still 1,000 times better than being homeless, of course. Now, what I'm about to announce is that I'm going to use this land. It's already begun to be used, as I say. This small house over here, I'll do a little video with a tour to show you, has already been built. And the rest of the land, for all beautiful in its natural state, I'm going to have to build upon it. Now, to ensure that I keep as much of a small environmental impact as possible on this area, the buildings will be designed with #1 priority of making sure as few trees as possible are cut down. I've actually narrowed it down to 4 trees, and they're only young as well, so it's not so bad. And every time I cut down a tree here in Tanzania, I have a vow that I will plant a great deal more in its place. I vowed 50, but I'll be honest, I have not managed to meet that vow, so we reduced it to 20. So every tree we cut down, we'll plant 20, if not here, then around the area. And also, the land will be built incorporating permaculture, so it will be a living food forest. We'll have residential property inside this part of our land, but at the same time it will produce food for the residents within here. So basically we will live in union with this land, and we will tread as carefully and as respectfully as we can, as all people should, in our home, which is this forest ultimately. Feather's Tail is a forest, that's where we live. We live inside a forest. This is Feather's Tail Children's Village. So, what I want to announce is on the website I have added a new page, and if you visit the website you'll see at the top there's a long button that says a fundraiser for the new children's home. And you all met Last Night the DJ Save My Life Foundation's founder, Johnny Lee, who was with me a few months ago. He came with a guy called Neil to make a video here, and he's gone away after coming here and seeing what was going on to fundraise for us. And I've just had an email to say that they have done a cycle challenge in Ibiza, and there were 20-something cyclists, and they have fundraised £10,000, which is phenomenal. So that £10,000 is being transferred to our UK charity and will soon be set to work here. Now, that money will initially build the foundations of having a small community, which means we have to build a sewage system, which will be a bio-sewage system which never needs emptying because bacteria will do the job for us. So it works with 3 pits and a soak pit to take away the water that goes in. We will also need to pipe water to this area of our land, because at present it only is piped to the other area of our land. And I can hear bees. I wonder if I'm quiet, you might be able to hear them. I'm just watching for them, because you need to get down when they come in Tanzania. They mean business. Along with that, need to build things like a security gate and access, and we need to start clearing some of this wonderful vegetation, unfortunately, because in doing so, this will pave the way for where the foundations of the homes will go. Now, with regards to the homes, I have placed the schematics on the website, the plans for this house and the costing. But there's another one, and I need to talk to our web developer because it's difficult to put pictures. I need to add a gallery to show everyone this. There's another house that we've decided upon building as well, and what we're going to have is an infant disabled, well, we're aiming to have an infant disabled care or special needs care home. So when we have very small children with special needs, they go to that house, and then the larger home, which gives a very community feel, will be built on the same piece of land, and when the children are old enough, they'll move on to that home. I have a suspicion within a few months of getting them built, they'll be full regardless of what our plans are, but we'll see. It's in the hands of God, as it has been the last few years, and he just keeps, or the universe, or however you want to call it, keeps aligning everything to make things happen here. So now I announce it because there are many people out there who sometimes might want to do a little fundraiser, and I'm also doing a wish list because there are many small things that we need doing in the meantime. So the wish list page is empty on the website at the moment, but I will get that done. I just need to email the list to our web developer later. And for those of you who are fundraising or want to fundraise and so on and so forth, or have any ideas, we do need your help, and this is why I'm announcing this as I am with a YouTube video. And the reason we need your help is that the estimates are coming out with the solar power and everything at around about $110,000 US. But that's for a house with nearly 50 rooms in it, so it's quite a big thing. Physio room, sensory room, play areas, courtyard garden, many bedrooms, with some with ensuite, some without, big wash closets, laundry rooms, dining area, verandas which will overlook this beautiful forest that we live in. And I plan to have a small farm animal rescue off the back of the veranda, so as the children can interact with local animals, livestock. So there are always animals I find being treated terribly, and now we can put them here, you know, pigs and sheep and cows and whatever else. So we'll see how many I can fit in, chickens, etc, etc. So I am undertaking the biggest building project I've ever undertaken here, and it's a huge ask, and we're going to have a bit of a fight on our hands to get it done. But last night, the DJ Save My Life Foundation have started this project here and now, and we do have other support coming. I can't say anything about it until the end of June, but once I can, I'll be sure to make a video straight away after my wedding and tell you why I haven't been able to say anything about it, but I will be able to say something about it then. And that will probably still leave us with quite a deficit, let's put it that way, of what we require to make this happen. So I'm putting the word out there that we need this to happen. I have children waiting to come here, many, and you've all heard the horror stories that we are dealing with when these children are admitted and hearing what happened to them. And quite simply, we need this building. We have to have it, otherwise it continues. The horror continues. Where do the children live? Where do these single mums go? You know, what do they do? And up to now, the only solutions offered in places like Tanzania are to separate the parents from the children. But the way I see it, if a mother's willing to make herself homeless, then she loves her child, so they should not be separated. The best place is for them to be together. Now, of course, that only accounts for a small percentage of the children in our care. In fact, it's about a little over 10% of the children in our care have parents with them. The rest of them don't have parents. The parents have either passed away, abandoned them, or have been deemed unfit to care for the children by the government. So, or just haven't coped due to the poverty that people face here and the struggles that they have. So, the parents who do have children will always be allowed to come here, because they will always find work here as well. As the more children come here, I'm sure we'll always find employment for these ladies, and also a loving, safe home for their children and themselves as well. Those children who are sadly abandoned or mistreated, we will continue to find those children and continue to provide a loving home for them. But the quality of life of everyone here at Featherstail is just going to keep plummeting unless I develop and expand on Featherstail. And this is what I am making this video for, just to tell you. It's official. We are now starting our fundraising drive, and we are starting construction on the new part of Featherstail, which will provide shelter for over 50 special needs children when completed. Can provide shelter for over 50. Might even be more with the baby home. With the baby home might be 70 to 80. And that has room for expansion again. There's enough land here to build another house on top of that as well if we need to, without it being congested. So, but one step at a time. And for all, I don't have the money to do it. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. It's something you will hear me saying a lot if you watch a lot of my videos. And I kept that in mind when I started Featherstail. So, $110,000, around about £85,000, it's a lot of money. It's even more if you put it into Tanzanian money, because it's like 250 million Tanzanian shillings or something, which sounds really dramatic, but it's not. It's a big ask, so I'm just putting this out there. Share the video. If you want to do some fundraising and stuff, get in touch and we'll help you to do it. If you've got any plans, then do it. You know, Stuart came forth to me last year and said, hey, I'm going to arrange a Kilimanjaro climb for you, and now there's like 20 people going up there, and each of those people will raise £1,000 each for the project here, at least £1,000 each. Some will probably raise more, you know, and I mean, that's one guy who said, hey, I'm going to try and organise something, and he did, and look what's happened, you know. If everyone hits their targets, that's £20,000, which will go into this place. So yeah, so if you have any ideas, take a step. That's all I did. Genuinely, guys, I was just like you. Just think about that. And I mean this, not just for here, not just for Featherstail, but for anything in the world, for anything you want to do. I was just like you. 5 years ago, 5 years ago, I was sitting at home. No, yeah, 5.5 years ago, I was sitting at home, and I took a step. I took the first step of making a decision in my mind. I was going to go to Tanzania after being called to do so by the very famous at this point 1111. I then took the next step. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I took the next step. Eventually I bought a plane ticket. I took the next step. I got on the plane. I took the next step. I rocked up in a village, didn't speak the language, in the middle of nowhere, furthest away from home I've ever been in my life. I took the next step. I looked where the children needed help and started trying to get them into school. I took the next step. I opened the fundraising page on Facebook to do that. I took the next step. One of those children, his whole family died. His parents died from HIV and he had nowhere to stay. So I let him come and live here. Took the next step. I invited a homeless single mother with a cerebral palsy child to stay here because we had space to let her stay. All the while I was taking other steps to take in rescue dogs, etc. Being haunted by flies in this forest. Just take steps. But you just got to take the step, you know. You can't say, I'm going to take the step and then just go off and join the crowd and get drunk and so on and so forth. You know, because nothing then gets a chance really to manifest as well as it can. But if you take the step, and the universe sees that you're taking that step, you take one step towards your goal, the universe sends your goal 3-4 steps towards you. So we don't have to see the whole staircase, we just have to take that first step. And this is my first step to creating a new centre for these children who very desperately need it. So, much love, guys. Bye.
We're a part of something special. We're a part of something special. We're a part of something special. It's a crack in time.